According to a religious landscape study conducted in 2014 by Pew Research Center, 0.7% of Americans are Buddhists. This means more than 2 million Americans are Buddhist, and this year of 2022, the number of Buddhists in the US has already exceeded 4 million, despite the slight decline of the global Buddhist population. American Buddhism is growing also among young people. In 2014, 64% of them are under age 50, but isn't American spirituality primarily rooted in the Western monotheistic tradition? How do God and Buddha go together? 70% of American Buddhists find no problem with believing in God as a Buddhist. In contrast, 30% say no to this. Perhaps the majority of the 30% had a monotheistic spiritual or religious background and converted to become a Buddhist. I take this to say that in the US, interfaith dialogue is happening not only in conference rooms, but also importantly in the minds of many American Buddhists. Some people are completely fine with it, and others are struggling. Given this, one of the crucial questions is to ask, how is Buddha different from God? That's what this video is about. This topic is really crucial for your learning, so I'm very glad that you were able to make it today. Make it? Yeah, as if we are meeting one-on-one. That's the job of YouTuber, right? So let's talk about an essential difference between God and Buddha, and I hope this will give you some clarity about a topic. And the question is, how is Buddha different from God? So roughly speaking, God is a creator God, but Buddha is never a creator Buddha. So Buddha is not a creator. Buddha is a title, which means the one who has awakened. So surprisingly, in Buddhism, there's no creator. Who created the Buddhist universe? Okay, but you may wonder, that drives me nuts because who created the Buddhist universe? That's simply not the central concern among Buddhists. But I understand if you grew up in the monotheistic culture, it may sound really strange to imagine the world without creator, the world without, the purpose of all creations. This is where things get really interesting, right? In contrast, Buddhism operates in the creator-less Buddhist universe, whose nature is without a divine purpose. So in this sense, you can say Buddhism is a tradition that is non-theistic or perhaps atheistic. So this difference has a huge implications that you don't want to miss hearing. But before that, I'm very curious about your story. Are you a Buddhist? Do you believe in God? And what does that mean to believe in God as a Buddhist to you? If you're not a Buddhist, why are you studying Buddhism and what are you hoping to find in Buddhism? And let me know in comments, I'm very curious. So that said, what is the most important implication of this difference? Well, Creator God created the universe and created all creatures. But importantly, this creator itself is never being created by anything else, right? This is very, very crucial because this means no creatures will ever become God. God is not created. Right? So because of this, there's an absolute hierarchy between the creator and the creatures, God and us. And this is to show how great God is and how the relationship between God and us is secured and protected. In contrast to the theistic worldview, for Buddhists, creation of the world is not a central concern. Rather, what they cared about in Buddhism from its day one is how to end suffering of people. End of the perpetual cycle of samsara, rebirth, is not only a special kind of suffering like being burned on stake or something like that, but also we're talking about the suffering in terms of everyday life suffering from an everyday life that we encounter. So that's a practical aspect of Buddhism, which is at the heart of the tradition. In Buddhism, the central concern is how to uproot the cause of suffering. Uproot, right? From the root. Remove the cause of your suffering. That's a central concern. So like in practical speaking, whether or not I can really finish my PhD program in philosophy of religions right now, hopefully by next year, can I really finish that on time? That's another concern. That's a suffering. And whether this guy grew up without any health problem and so on, right? Yeah, right? Okay, thank you. So, full of concerns, that's life. This is why in Buddhism, Four Noble Truths and other Buddhist concepts kick in to help you achieve this end of suffering, liberation from all the anxieties and regrets and so on. And you can check out more about this in my other video that I put the link below. Because Buddha is not creator, there's no Buddhist rule that advocates the impossibility of Buddhahood achieved by unenlightened beings like us. So with a contrast to the monotheistic worldview in mind, we can say for the sake of clarity that the absence of the absolute hierarchy between the Buddha and us implies the relationship of equality rather than the relationship of hierarchy. To the minds of some Westerners, they find this very refreshing and a spiritually appealing point because this means that anyone, including you, will become a Buddha. So we are all equal to Buddha in the ultimate Buddhahood. In Buddhism, you can become a Buddha. In monotheism, you can never become God. So this is the essential difference. So Buddha is title. Buddha is free, someone who free from all suffering and out of compassion helps others to achieve the same result of Buddhahood. So in other words, in Buddhism, you are invited to become a Buddha and to see how absolutely beautiful this world truly is if seen from the eyes of compassion and enlightenment. Many Westerners love this point because it sort of opens up their path toward the Buddhahood, their Buddhahood, and towards the sort of the unlimited growth of their spirituality toward the Buddhahood, to sort of the infinity of Buddhahood, right? And this universal Buddhahood idea is articulated in the Mahayana Buddhist tradition, especially in the scripture called the Lotus Sutra and the Chinese tradition called the Tiantai. And I really recommend one book called Emptiness and Omnipresence, written by Brooks Ziporin, an essential introduction to Tiantai Buddhism. And let me know if you have a chance to take a look at it. You know, I'm in the future, after I finish my degree, I'm thinking about doing some series of lectures or discussions with the viewers of this channel. So let's keep in touch about this. So that's going to be very fun. Well, in a nutshell, this is my response to the question, how is Buddha different from God? I know, I have to admit that I was only able to lightly touch on the topic, and there's many more important points about this discussion. If you want to know more, please know that you are invited to join my online Buddhist discussion group called the Lotus Sutra Lab that you can find a link below, and hopefully see you there. Thank you for checking out. See you.